Hey guys, welcome to Crown Conversations. I'm your girl, Chanel, and today I have on my show my amazing, handsome, smart, did I say handsome, smart husband, Rodney Milbourne. So let's talk to the husband and get how this DSP program has been for him. So let's get into it. Hey, babe.
Hey, babe. How you doing?
Babe, are you glad to be on the show?
I'm ecstatic to be on the show.
Yeah.
A little nervous, but I don't know why, because I'm just talking to my wife.
Right, babe, you're talking to me.
Yes.
You're talking to me, babe. It's fine. It's fine. Well, I'm glad you on here. I wasn't expecting you to be on here so soon, to be quite honest. But you're here, and I'm glad you're here, babe.
Yes, and I'm delighted to be here.
Okay, good. So babe, let's talk about like what you were doing before you were a DSP. What were you doing before you became a DSP?
So, before I became a DSP, I was an officer in the United States Army.
Mm-hmm.
I served in the United States Army. I, again, like I said, officer.
Yep.
Logistical officer,
Mhm.
and I eventually became an acquisitions officer.
Yeah.
There was a lot of buzz at the time and articles coming out around 2018
Mm-hmm.
in reference to the DSP program. I think, to be honest, my wife brought it up to me and told me that I should look into it.
Yeah.
I looked into it,
Uh-huh.
and I had a lot of reservation because, one, I was committed to the Army.
Yeah.
Two, I didn't think it was something that I could do. I knew it was about logistics.
Yeah.
But at the time, being honest, I didn't have complete confidence that it was something that I could get into and be selected.
Right.
After long deliberation between me and you,
Yeah.
you kind of pushed me and was like, hey, I know you could do this. You should go ahead and apply. Take a gamble on yourself, and see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
And long story short, here we are today.
Yes. And we were in
At that time,
we're in San Antonio.
yes, at that time, 2018, we were stationed at Fort Sam Houston.
Yeah. Yes. And I was in government as well, but civilian.
Mhm.
And you were still active duty.
Exactly.
Yes, I remember. And so then, babe, like once you went through like all the steps, like the interviews, well, actually, how are the interviews hard?
So I would say the interviews are somewhat hard. One in particular that was most difficult for me was the video interview where it's just you and a camera.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like you talking to a mirror, talking to yourself.
Right.
Amazon blinks a question on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
It gives you about 90 seconds to digest the question.
Mm-hmm.
Question goes away, camera light comes on, and you get 2 minutes to answer that question.
Mm-hmm.
For me, that was the most difficult because I typically in an interview like having a person.
Yeah.
And it gives me an opportunity to get a feeling from the person that the interviewer,
Right.
to kind of get an idea of what they're looking for
Mm-hmm.
with the information that I'm providing back.
Yeah.
And that just interview in front of a camera, in front almost like a mirror,
Yeah.
you get no feedback.
Right.
So that was the most difficult interview for me.
Mm-hmm.
The other interviews that were in person with people, I felt like it was pretty easy because I have no issue with talking to people, talking about my experiences.
Yeah.
And articulating.
Right. So the in-person was easier,
Yes.
10 times easier than that computer.
Yes.
I have to agree. Okay, so now that we are in the DSP program, the name of our company is RCNL, and we are now here in Cypress. But before that, we were in San Antonio, and we are 4 years strong now?
Little over 4 years strong.
A little over 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
And so because of that, making that change from San Antonio to to Cypress, what has that been like? Well, if you had to compare starting out when we were just starting out in San Antonio to now starting out in Houston and already been in San Antonio, like what do you feel like the difference is when you first went into it and you were like, okay, I mean, we got 5 routes, and now move and had to pack up everything and go somewhere else is different, right?
In all honesty, this has probably been the hardest move.
Yeah.
And I thought it would be a breeze, being that we've been a DSP for over 4 years now. We've kind of weathered the different storms that the program could throw at us. We were doing really well in San Antonio, operating metrically, because Amazon is all about metrics. Metric-wise, we operated really well.
Yeah.
However, moving to here, I thought it was more opportunity.
Yeah.
And I felt like because we had so much experience, the move would be a breeze.
Yeah.
However, I was mistakenly wrong.
Right.
It wasn't a breeze.
No.
Moving here, stepping back in San Antonio, you started, like you said, 5-5-5, meaning routes.
Yeah.
Started with 5 routes. After 2 weeks, you go up to 10, so on and so forth. Moving here, we came straight from running about 32 routes a day to running 32 routes here, and then morphing into 45 to 50 routes a day within a couple weeks.
Right.
With all new employees who have no concept of what Amazon is, what professional driving is.
Yep.
So having to basically, it's almost like having a new baby.
Yeah.
And you now have to teach that baby how to talk, how to walk, what is dangerous, what is not.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what it's been like moving here to Cypress, and already being a pretty much robust company with over 100 employees who know nothing about Amazon. And we have nobody but myself, my wife, and 2 other guys that could even explain to them what that is.
Yeah.
It's been pretty difficult, but like anything, we'll weather that storm as well.
Right. I mean, it's been hard, but I feel like we're making progress in the right direction.
Yes.
Instead of the, wrong direction. We're making progress. So that's good.
So for my DSPs out there, we already Fantastic Plus. So I will say that we finally nudged these guys and got them to the point where we already operating at Fantastic Plus.
Yes. And we're this would be
week 4.
This
is week 4 in the new location.
So I mean, we doing good. We doing good. So okay, babe, let's talk about, like, as far as now that everything is gone, we've made this move, like, what would you say would be or what would you change? Like, would you change anything about either coming this way and not doing a move and staying in San Antonio? Or would you, like, what would you say you would do different now that even after our 4 weeks? Is there anything different you would do?
I don't think there is nothing completely different I would do.
Yeah.
I would invest in some of my old employees that couldn't move, but were really invested into our company.
Yeah.
I would have paid for them to stay here longer.
Okay.
In the beginning, we paid for them to stay the very first week, and tried to get as many people trained and comfortable as we could that first week. I think I probably would have invested in them maybe another week or maybe another week and a half, and gave them like 2.5 weeks to be on ground to really assist us in the proper coaching, training, and mentoring that these new guys need to be set up for success.
Yeah, I think I would agree. I would agree with that, and to maybe hire more. Like, I felt like we hired a lot of people, but I feel like maybe we still needed more, even though, again, like in a previous episode that we had with Rochelle and Shannon, they were saying, remember, if you want to be a DSP, you got to always hire.
Yes.
Yeah, like, it don't never stop. It never like you're at capacity. No, you're never at capacity with drivers.
Right.
You need drivers all the time. So I feel like maybe we could have hired some more initially, like, before we got going.
Yes.
Hire more.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah. Okay. So, I agree with what you're saying. Also, I want to talk about too, as far as, what do you want to say? Life balance, I guess, because okay, you're military, babe. You were military. You're active duty, so you were gone already, right? You were gone on deployments, doing all the things with the military. So for me, as the spouse, I was kind of already used to that. Well, not kind of. I was used to it, right? You don't like it, but you get used to it. So, but I feel like with the DSP, it's not that much different because as the spouse, I feel like you're gone. Even though you're there, you're gone, right? Because it's a lot of work. And I kind of stress that because I mean nothing is easy, right? I mean, nothing's easy, but I stress that it's a lot of work because I think people only look at what you post on social media but not really know like the real deal Holyfield, you know what I mean?
Right.
But I'm saying all that to say, like how do you feel like you could be better at balancing, or how have you been able to balance being a husband, being a dad, being a owner of a business? Like how do you think you could be better? Do you think you do a good job? Like what do you think?
So being honest, I think I'm probably a little bad at this portion because the military kind of preaches and drill in you a standard and a culture and ensuring that at the end of the day, if everything fails, it's on you as that leader.
Yeah.
Yes, you could delegate things down,
Yeah.
and make the mission happen, but at the end of the day, it's all on you.
Yeah.
It's the way they preach it from the officer side of the house.
Mhm.
And now on the entrepreneurial side, I took that military side and brought it over to the entrepreneurial side.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel. In this business, I feel if I'm not in tune with everything that's going on, if something fails at the end of the day, it all comes back to me because
Yeah.
I'm the one that signed that contract.
Right.
So I spend a lot of time trying to ensure that everything's in place, and that my team, the organization, and everybody that's associated with it is set up for success.
Mhm.
Can I be better at that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
I think I have to find more of a balance to get some of that time back. And I know we've talked about that. I
Yeah.
want to be able to get some of my time back because I don't want my wife nor my kids to feel like, yeah, daddy's here, but he's still technically
Not
almost
here.
like he's deployed, so
Yeah.
he's not here.
Yeah.
Physically he's here, but mentally he's not.
Yeah.
So I'm probably not the best person at the time
Yeah.
to give advice on that because
Yeah.
I have a lot of work to do in that category.
Mhm.
However, I'm aware of it.
Yeah.
So now it's up to me to do a better job at figuring out that balance because you got to be able to have your work life, your home life, your family life, so on and so forth.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, babe. I think you do a good job, but I also think you go like all in with stuff. You know what I'm saying? Um the I think military, when you were home, like you were there. Like you mentally you were there, all of that. But I feel like now being a DSP owner, I feel like it's so many things that happen. Like people don't even understand the
Yeah.
calls and the emails that
Yes.
you get. And you be thinking like, I'm just getting ready to enjoy a dinner, or I'm getting ready to enjoy a vacation. And in just that thought of having that, you get an email and it's like somebody just ran into the back of a van, and now you like, oh Lord, is everybody okay? Okay, everybody okay. But okay, so now I got to figure out the van. Now, what am I going to do? Like, it's a lot of things that can just happen in a blink of an eye. Like we say, those fires all the time,
Mhm.
that you constantly putting out fires. So So yes, I think you could work on that, babe. You
Yes.
could work on that.
Agreed.
But I, you know what I love about us is that we always make time to spend together. Like we find that time to spend together, and I appreciate that. I appreciate if it's just, I mean, we didn't went to the bar and sat at the bar and we ain't eat no food. We might have had a drink, and it really just feels good, right?
Yes.
It feels good to be able to do that. It feels good to just go to dinner. We'll go to a movie. So I think we're really good at like checking in on that part. You know, I know a lot of times we check in mentally too, and you have definitely gotten better at that. I feel like military makes you hide emotions.
Yes, it does.
Like that's a requirement.
It is.
Like you can't show no emotion, but now I feel like now you're really good at expressing how you feel. So that's good. And then as far as our family, I think, I don't know, I feel like I am more of the home person that takes care of the house. What do you think?
Yes, you the person that takes care of the house. I feel like I take care of the financial side. You have the actual physical side, the nurturing, the cooking, the cleaning, the ensuring everybody's getting to where they supposed to be, and listening to the what I call the teenage drama with having two girls, our two teenagers. So yes,
I get all of that, babe.
Yes.
Then you miss it. You missed the teenage drama. I know you want to be a part of that. Like I know you want to hear about what Jessica said. So yeah, that the teenage daughter thing is something. And two, I was I peeked on the other day when I was in the kitchen and the girls was in the kitchen and you was on the couch because you hadn't been home because you had been here.
Right.
And I was just like, just listening to them laugh and talk about the different things that they be saying and doing to each other. And I was just like, it was that moment that I was like, oh my God, we got two teenage girls, a 7th grader and a 10th grader. And I was just like, look at us, you know, like,
yep.
It was just that in that moment, I was like, man, we done came so far. Like, let me just tell y'all, Rodney and I, we were, you know, we were not what you want to say, like very successful when we first started out. We were doing good, right? I said we were doing good. But we were not, I mean, when we first started dating, we both fell on some hard times. And
most definitely. So
y'all have to understand, like, at one point I was on unemployment. At one point he was on unemployment. It was crazy. So for us, like, to be able to be where we are now, financially and our family, I mean, it was not easy and it's not taken lightly, but we are really blessed to be where we are. The military really is a big part of that, right?
Yes.
Because I mean, without that, I don't think I would be really who I was, and I don't think you would be who you are without it.
So military helped give us a solid foundation.
Yeah.
It gave us I don't necessarily want to say a sense of purpose, but it gave us some direction.
Right.
It's structured, and and structure is what I like.
Yeah.
My dad was a big advocate of it, saying, "Hey, I feel like all men should at least do 3 years of the military. It gives you a foundation, gives you some structure." And he was right.
Yeah.
And it worked out. It worked for us. We thrived in it. Me on that military side, you end up being a government employee.
Mm-hmm.
So I think military gave us that foundation, showed us what true structure looked like from the basically the corporate side of the world.
Yeah.
And it kind of propelled us into where we're at now.
Yeah.
So I'm thankful to the military. I have no regrets. I enjoyed everything about it. A lot of the times, the different opportunities we've had, that's the first thing they ask. Do you have any type of military background, and so on and so forth?
Yeah.
And, oh, by the way, yeah, we do.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think and that's what they were looking for too,
Yeah,
right?
that was a big thing in the DSP program. They were looking for people who had the leadership qualities from being a part of the military.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because Amazon understood that you guys are very like disciplined, especially when you've been in for as long as you were in.
Mhm.
Yeah, you guys are very disciplined, and you being an officer, so you already knew about leadership. You already knew, how to get things done. You were a logistics officer, so
Mhm.
you already knew about that whole side of it. So I mean, to me, you were the perfect person, babe. You were the perfect person for the job. So, but you know what, babe, I do kind of want to talk about how we met though, because I feel like it's, understand, I've been married to my husband for 15 years. We just celebrated our 15-year anniversary
Yeah.
in October the 7th.
Yeah.
We were together. We've been together 20 years.
20 years. Yeah.
Oh my God, babe. 20 years.
20 years. Yeah.
So listen, let me tell you let's give a big shout out to Nate.
Yes.
Because I feel
My
like
best
Nate,
friend, Nate. Yes.
Nate was the one, he was a vital part of this union. Nate, listen, thank you so much for telling Rodney that I was trying to get with him. Okay. So I was in property management when I met Rodney. And he and Nate had came in to get an apartment. They were renting an apartment, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I remember him, and I thought he was, attractive, but it was business. I was there to rent y'all an apartment. That's all I was trying to do. So then when they everything worked out, you guys came back in to move. Oh, your hair, you was bald, babe.
Yeah,
I
had a bald head for the summer.
You had a bald head, and I was like, who is this bald-headed guy? Like, who is that? So I was like, I don't talk to bald-headed dudes. That's just wasn't my thing. It wasn't my thing. So I was like, But then I remember maybe it was a couple months later, maybe after y'all had moved in.
It was like a month later.
Yeah, I was behind this person in a 350Z, a white 350Z, and he was coming into my apartment complex, the apartment complex I worked at. And y'all, I was like, who is driving this car and coming into the apartment community that I work at? So I followed him. I follow him on the golf cart, guys. On the community golf cart, I followed him to his apartment, and I seen that it was him, and he was going into that apartment that Nate lived in. So I went back to the office, and I found their file, and I called Nate. So that probably wasn't really like, I don't know, was that illegal? I don't know, babe.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I called Nate, and I told Nate that I wanted to know if his friend was in a relationship. If he wasn't, I needed him to give him my number. And and so Nate thought that was hilarious. I remember it like yesterday. He just laughed, and he was like, no, he not dating nobody. And I was like, okay. And so he gave you my number?
He gave me the number.
Yes. And so Rodney came up to the office and came in, and I gave him my business card. And y'all, I wrote the wrong number down. I wrote the wrong number down on the card because he never called me. I was like, why is this guy not calling me? But he came up here to get my number, but he's not calling. So I had ran into me and Jack. Yeah. Shout out to my best friend, Jack. Me and Jack were on our way out that one night, and y'all were about to go out, or y'all were coming back from going out or something. And I said, Jack, stop the car. And I said to you, I was like, hey, why you didn't call me? You were like, I did call you. And I was like, no, you didn't. And he pulled out the business card, y'all, and I had wrote the wrong number. Lord have mercy. But I mean, it was meant to be, babe, because like I feel even though I did all that, we here 20 years later. 2 kids, 20 years later. So we doing good. But I mean, I don't know, babe. Like what do you think, like, as far as lifestyle wise, how do you feel like the DSP has changed our lifestyle?
DSP gave us a little bit more, I would say, financial freedom.
Yeah.
being military and on that side of the house, we were doing well.
We were doing good.
We bought our first house in the military.
Yeah.
We bought multiple properties being a part of the military. So financially, we were good.
Yeah.
DSP just kind of took it to the next level.
Yeah.
It gave you a little bit more financial backing to do some of those things that bucket list items, I would say.
Yeah.
So with that, we've done some of our bucket list items.
Yeah.
One, we've been to Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I'm a diehard Eagles fan. Go Eagles.
Yes.
We went to the Super Bowl, bucket list item.
Mhm.
We've took the kids on trips that we probably wouldn't have taken.
Yeah.
Just being military.
Yeah.
We took trips, but we wouldn't have took those exotic trips.
Yeah.
We've done exotic trips, just me and you. So
Yeah.
I say being a DSP just kind of gave us a little bit more financial freedom
Mhm.
to do a few more different things, but it also gave us an opportunity to give more as well.
Yeah.
We have a foundation, and before the foundation, we already did a lot of I can't even talk now. Philanthropy work.
Yeah.
We've done we do Feed the Community every year.
Mhm.
Now we do Feed the Community. We do
Mhm.
backpack drives.
Yeah.
We do school supply drives.
Yeah.
Things of that nature to assist the community, because it is not all about what the DSP could do for us per se of our family, but it's more of what we could do for others.
Yeah.
We're giving opportunities as far as our employment, but we're also giving back to the communities that are supporting us.
Mhm.
And that's probably the biggest thing that I like about it, is giving us an opportunity to do more for others. I get the most delight out of that.
Yeah.
It's not about the awards from it. It's more about just seeing the smiles and the faces of those people who can't do for themselves, and now we come into play and are able to assist them and give them a warm meal, give their kid a backpack with all the supplies to go to school, and just one less thing to think about.
Yep, for them. Yeah. And I think those, especially not only like the backpack drives, but I think those, when we do for Thanksgiving, when we do like the turkeys and stuff like that, like, those people coming through and getting that stuff, they're just so excited just to come by and get a turkey, or a ham, or so that's been really beneficial. That Amazon definitely has allowed us to be able to do those things. Also too, giving back to our church and our, where we grew up. We're both from North Carolina, and we didn't grow up in the same town, but we've went to your town, and we did. We had a whole, that was Thanksgiving too.
We felt like over 500 people in that thing.
Yeah, that was Thanksgiving, right?
Yep, that was Thanksgiving.
So we did that for Thanksgiving. And then the church that I grew up in, we've given to them too.
Yep.
So yeah, just my church alone, they were like over the moon. So yeah, so it feels good, like, to be able to do that stuff. And then I think it's good for the girls too, to see us, give back and not, never lend out a hand, or never lend out, a meal or whatever. Just being able to show them, like, hey, you can have all these things, but it's good to give back. It's good to show, like,
help
hey,
thy neighbor.
Yeah, exactly. So I think all of that is good. I don't know, baby. I feel like one of our biggest splurges though that we do is cars.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? I feel like, man, it is so bad. It's bad, but you just told me that we weren't getting ready to do that no more.
Yeah,
So
I'm
sad to say that it has finally come to an end.
Yes.
After, I don't know, I won't say 20 years, but I say 14 for
At least
sure.
14, yeah.
14 of the years we've
'Cause
been
we
together.
did that in the military as well.
Yeah, man. Oh, cars are our weakness. So yeah, I don't know if there's probably some cars we haven't had. I'm not gonna say that, but it's just a few that we haven't had. We've had a lot of different
Yes.
cars.
A ton. Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's good. So when I in a previous episode, I've asked people, what is your splurge thing, or what is it that you really spend money on? And so I've gotten quite a few different responses, but I know ours is cars.
Yes.
But would you say it was something else?
No,
It's
ours is definitely cars.
Yeah.
It's now that I told you that, we recently talked about that. It's probably going to be something else.
Yeah.
But it's most definitely cars.
Yeah, I feel like, man, I feel like we should probably focus more on like trips now.
I agree.
Let our cars just,
the car fetish go away.
Yeah, I think we should, and just move on to like trips. I think we should probably start putting more money into those, And one of the other episodes when I had Mystique on, I was asking her about the VIP Disney trip.
Yeah.
And I was like, girl, who knew that you could go to Disney VIP? But Mystique knew.
They did.
Yeah, she knew. So she even threw out the VIP International Disney VIP.
Oh,
wow. Going, because we got to fly first class. That's what she said.
Yeah.
We got to fly first class. So I'm like, yes, maybe we should take the girls, do a first class trip, and make that our new splurge.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah, I feel like that'd be
fun.
They
would definitely like that.
Yeah, they would. They would. But yeah, babe, so you know what? I wanted to really have you on here so we could, chit chat and talk about, how the DSP has been for us. And it's been hard. It's some days I'm just like, I don't know, some days I feel like, did we do the right thing or whatever? Because it's very demanding. And you don't get a lot of grace when it comes to the business. So sometimes I feel like, man, like my husband gone and we're back and forth on the road together, and finding babysitters and stuff for the girls to make sure they good. Sometimes I'm like, okay, is this really what we want to do? But then on the flip side, I'm like, well, I wouldn't have been able to put my daughter in this nice program, or I wouldn't have been able to, make sure my mom has her medicine, or, you know what I mean? So you think about that stuff and you're like, okay, I guess we'll keep on trucking on, you know what I mean? Tough it out. Yeah. So, I mean, like, what do you think? You kind of feel the same way?
I feel the exact same way. It takes up a lot of time. DSP business is 24/7.
Yeah.
It's not open all night, so people understand that, but it is 24/7. It's a 7-day-a-week operation.
Yeah.
It only shuts down 4 times a year. So those 4 times, most of us DSPs, we just sleep or do something that we really enjoy doing, and that's Christmas, New Year's, Thanksgiving, 4th of July. Only 4 times it shut down. The other was that 359 days out of the year, we are in full operation, full go. So there is no breaks.
Yeah.
However, if it was easy, then everybody would be doing it.
Yes, you're right.
Everybody would be doing it.
Yeah.
So each day I thank the Lord for that blessing.
Yeah.
I understand that blessing still requires work.
Exactly.
And that work is what we do and what we put in. Could we figure out a way to navigate that probably a little better and get that time back, as I alluded to earlier?
Yeah.
Yes. However, I'm appreciative.
Yeah.
It's done a lot for our family. It's done a lot for others.
Yeah.
We are helping other people still be able to provide for their families.
Yeah.
So in all, I don't regret anything.
Yeah.
I just feel as we continue to go forward and move forward in this program, we just got things that we have to make small tweaks to.
Right.
And do a little bit better.
Yeah. I agree with that. Babe. Well, I'm so glad that you came on the show today. Even though I wasn't expecting you this soon, but I'm glad you're here. And if anybody wants to be a part of RCNL, because we are still actively hiring here in the Cypress area, they need to go to RCNL-LLC.com. You could go to our website there and you can apply there,
or you can look for our Indeed app, our Indeed ad, which is RCNL LLC.
Yes.
And you can find us there.
And yes. Okay. Well, again, babe, I'm glad you came on the show. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we will see you in the next one.
Peace.